Hi everybody, this is Barry Schwartz. This is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is not tax day, it's April 15th, Friday. Tax day is going to be April 18th, Monday. So hopefully you have your taxes ready and submitted. I do not yet. Not my fault, my accountant's fault, of course. Anyway, today is the 15th of April, and I wanted to discuss several things that have happened this past week in the SEO space. The first thing I wanted to discuss was obviously the Panda Farmer rollout. So as you know, in late February, Google released the Panda update, or the Farmer update, whatever you want to call it, in the US, and they promised to release it pretty much a few weeks later globally. That didn't happen until about a month and a half later, and on April 11th, Google has released the Panda Farmer update worldwide on English language based search engines like Google UK, Google Australia, and stuff like that. They did make some tweaks to it. Those tweaks included targeting more of the long tail stuff as opposed to what they were doing before. And they said, although Panda, impacted about 12% of the search queries, this incremental update impacted another 2% or so of their queries. So that's what's happening. We have a big post about this on April 12th at SEOroundtable.com with tons and tons of information. There are a lot of people who are impacted by this, like the previous US rollout. We have actually reports from two different websites. So those watching live right now, I don't have the chat room live. I have to finish this quickly, so I'm just going to talk through. We do have reports from two different sites. One is the Search Metrics report showing which sites were hit the hardest, as well as one is the Systrix report, which has which sites were hit the hardest. And it seems like here eHow was hit pretty hard, as opposed to in the US rollout where eHow wasn't. So the question is now, I assume eHow was hit hard in the US as well. So you can look at these reports. One was posted on April 13th, and the other one was posted on April 14th at SEOroundtable.com. The good news is, on April 14th, I posted about the incremental returns. People have been noticing after this release on April 11th that some people who are working hard to improve their site have actually noticed some significant or incremental types of returns. So let's say a site was hit. They said they lost about 60% of their traffic. A lot of people were saying after the fixes they made, they saw an increase from after losing 60%, maybe 5-10%. But some people are now saying they're actually bouncing back almost completely pre-Panda, now post-Panda. So it is interesting to see that happen. We have more information with some more information about these types of incremental returns on April 14th at SEOroundtable.com. Moving over to Google Webmaster Tools, Google has now, this is pretty cool, is actually going ahead and telling webmasters when they submit a reconsideration request if that reconsideration request would actually have any impact. So Google, as you know, has two types of penalties. One is manual and one is algorithmic. And And if you have a manual penalty, submitting a reconsideration request will actually help you. If you have an algorithm penalty, it won't. So Google's now replying to people saying you don't have a manual penalty, so this reconsideration request won't help you. There are automated penalties. We're not telling you if you do have an automated penalty, but if you do and you fix your site, after the next crawl index, you will be fine and dandy. So don't bother submitting a reconsideration request for a non-manual penalty. That's April 11th at SEOroundtable.com. It was interesting. We saw, how back in February, Overstock was penalized for manipulating links and stuff like that and selling and buying links. They lost a tremendous amount of traffic from Google, and now they're telling us that Overstock has told Routers that they lost 5% of their sales because of this. And I'll quote you, Routers said, the lower Google natural search rankings has hurt sales during the penalty period to date by 5%. And Overstock expects this to continue for the rest of this period. So they obviously had to announce their earnings, and they said this Google thing had a 5% impact on their sales. To me, that seems minor, because Overstock.com is pretty much an online retailer, and I assume a lot of their traffic comes from Google. I assume they do a lot of ads as well, a lot of other search and refer and social media and stuff like that. But at the same time, to have only a 5% downgrade in sales due to this is pretty interesting to me. It doesn't seem that major. I assume 5% is huge in terms of numbers, but 5% as a percentage doesn't seem too big to me. Moving on, this morning I posted about Google Instant and how their auto completions work. Danny did a great post about it a week or so ago named How Google's Instant Autocompletion Suggestions Work. But I did a post this morning saying people about sometime in March were saying that Google was less often or pretty much not offering scam suggestions. So you typed in, I don't know, Google is, or Google scams, or Google SC, you typed in Walmart and whatever, it will actually autocomplete to scam, or like company name scam, person name scam. And that obviously upset people because Google was offering suggestions that were, negative towards a brand, person, or company. And what happened was in late March, the Still blog and some other people were saying those autocompletions were gone. Google wasn't offering them anymore. I checked. I saw a lot of them. I didn't see as many as I did in the past, but I did see a lot of them. And I decided to ping Google. Google never replied to me about this. I don't know why. They usually do. And now people are reporting that the Google scam suggestions, autocompletions in Google Instant are back. Honestly, they seem to be always have been there. It does seem to be piped down a bit where they don't show up as much. But Google, again, has not gone on record telling us what is going on. Over to Yahoo, Yahoo stores started to somehow block, via the robots.tsc file, images from being indexed by Google. That prevents, one, obviously those images in the Yahoo stores from being found in Google Image Search. Two, it prevents them somewhat from being listed in the Google Google Shopping Center, Google Shopping Merchant area, because they can't list those images. And three, for the product ad results where they show like AdWords with product ads, they also can't show up. I believe Yahoo's working on this now. We posted a story about this on April 14th, but it was pretty crazy to see Yahoo blocking it and saying, hey, we don't find any value to it. And Yahoo actually replied saying, we don't find value to this. Twitter. This isn't new, but basically, if you do a search in Google real-time search, Google pretty much gave the real estate and the ads to Twitter. So you could actually see ads by Twitter is in place of ads by Google. Bring up my screen so you can see it now. This little box is ads by Twitter. Anyway, it's not new again. It's happened back in November and it's happening ever since November, but I just find it awkward. That being said, back about ads, Yahoo, again, I'm not sure if this is new, but I believe this is old, but Yahoo has been labeling certain ads, search ads, in their search results as official site. So if you take a look at my screen, you can actually see that this ad says official site. It works for Staples, TurboTax, any major brand that has search ads, it actually works for. So it's pretty interesting. Again, I don't think that's new. Google has been testing adding dates to the image search results. So if an image is news specific or trending or whatever it might be, and it's hot and it's late and new, Google will actually go ahead and mark on that image right below the image X days ago, X hours ago, to tell people that this image is fairly new. Here's a little screenshot. As you can see, it says 1 day ago for this image for the NBA drafts query. Again, this is something that's brand new and available, and we posted about this on April 13th. I like it. Google Hotpot, basically the way for Google to release a way for people to, like, basically a social type of review site for local types of results, kind of like a Yelp, but not. So Google launched Hotpot in November of last year, and now they decided to remove the name Hotpot, keep the feature, but just call it Google Places and remove the name Hotpot. I like that. I don't like the name Hotpot too much. April 12th, SEOroundtable.com. Finally, obviously Google's Larry Page just took over as CEO this week. April 4th, I believe, or 5th was the date that he took over. And he made some major management changes this past week. He named some new senior vice presidents. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but the new senior vice president of search, advertising, mobile, Android, YouTube, social, Chrome, and local. And there's new people in charge. He's making major changes, tying bonuses to social strategies and stuff like that. And last night, Google announced their first earnings under Larry Page as CEO. Overall, everything was up. Revenue, clicks were up, paid clicks were up, cost per click was up, AdSense earnings were up, everything was up. Their cash is up, their employee count is up, their operating income is up, the profit's a little bit down because they're paying more people and their expenses are up. But the major thing that is actually down is their stock. Down about 6% in pre-market. Basically, people aren't happy. And this was the first time Google's Larry Page was in charge as CEO as a public company. So we had that story today, this morning, April 15th at SEOroundtable.com. Anyway, that pretty much covers the news for this week at the Search Engine Roundtable. Today, again, is April 15th, Friday. Thanks so much for listening. This is the news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com. My name is Barry Schwartz, and I'll see you guys next week. Everyone, have a great day. Bye.